Hello and welcome back to the Second Chance Live channel here on YouTube. I'm happy to see that you decided to stop by to watch this presentation. I create video presentations of my articles for individuals who learn through watching and listening. To read today's article, I'll put on my glasses and bring up the article. I want to thank you for your time. Here's the article. Living with a brain injury and an invisible disability, how are you defining success? Introduction. As an individual living with brain injuries, we can be led to believe that our lives no longer matter, that being successful is out of our reach, that this thinking and belief can be reinforced by many sources in society as we live our lives with the impact of a brain injury and an invisible disability. Sources that may minimize, marginalize, dismiss, and discount our capacity to contribute and thrive in society. Professionals that we interact with as individuals living with brain injuries, family members and friends, as well as other individuals living with brain injuries. Individuals who feel stuck by their brain injuries, deficits, and limitations. As a result, we may be led to believe what's the point and give up on our dreams and the pursuit of success in our lives. Defining success for ourselves after a brain injury. In my experience, I have found that there are several traps that can leave you and me feeling like we are failures. We can be led to believe that because of our brain injuries that we are failures. Consequently, we maybe find ourselves focusing on what we cannot change, what happened to us. And as a result, we may find ourselves feeling trapped by the notion that we are now helpless and hopeless because of a box of limiting expectations. Expectations that others place on us consciously and unconsciously, as well as those expectations of limitation that we place on ourselves, unknowingly and unconsciously. In response, we may find ourselves buying into the notion that we are victims of our circumstances, that we are subservient to a limiting societal system that communicates to us that we are unable to make empowering choices. Empowering choices that will give us the ability to move out of and beyond the box of a label, a stereotype, and a stigmatization. That we are unable to express our gifts, talents, and abilities to create and enhance our lives as individuals with brain injuries. That we are limited that we are limited in our ability to contribute to the lives of individuals within and without the brain injury community. How are we defining success as individuals living with brain injuries? Another trap that we may find ourselves falling into is believing that we are failures because our lives are not marked by what other people have acquired. That we are failures because of our station in life, be it disabled by society's standards. And that being disabled does not give us the means to be able to acquire or possess what society considers to be measures of success. In response, we may have people in our lives who subsequently patronize who we are as individuals by their attitudes. We may consequently feel minimized, marginalized, dismissed, and discounted as individuals. We may subsequently find ourselves buying into the notion that our lives are of little significance and value without the ability to acquire societal measures of success. But there is good news. We can set a different course. We can make self directed choices. In the process, we may find ourselves accepting what society has set for us to control and contain who we are as individuals, individuals with the impact of a brain injury through a label, stereotype, and stigmatization, set for us to meet and fulfill their agendas. In the process, we may find ourselves going along to get along, not realizing that there are other choices that we can make to empower and enhance our lives, creative capacity, and our ability to enrich our lives. Therefore, we no longer have to stay stuck. We no longer have to buy into the notion that society's measure of success determines whether we become and are successful. Instead, we can define success for ourselves. The good news is that through being aware of these notions as individuals living with brain injuries, we can make choices. We don't have to buy into the impact of labels, stereotypes, and stigmatization. Instead, we can make choices to express our unique creative capabilities and capacity. Here's a quote that I like. Everyone is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid, by Albert Einstein. The good news is that we no longer need to focus on what we cannot accomplish. Instead, we can be aware of our limitations and deficits and stop fighting against ourselves. We can use our energy to discover what we have and what we can do in ways that work for us. The good news is, subsequently, we can stop trading our judgment for the judgment of other people and their expectations of us, be it in society or in relationships with family members, other friends living with brain injuries, and professionals. We can expand our capacity to create through looking and discovering ways that will work for us. What I have found through my process and journey living with a brain injury and an invisible disability is that I am not my brain injury, nor my invisible disability. I am not my deficits or limitations. I am who I am, and I am enough. In my experience to realizing that I was not my brain injury or my invisible disability, I discovered that I am so much more than my brain injury. I am more than capable of creating with the gifts, talents, and abilities given to me by a loving God through my mind, body, spirit, soul, and emotions. I am much more than my brain injury and my invisible disability. I can develop my mind, body, spirit, soul, and emotions to create with my gifts, talents, and abilities. And I can do this through using my mind to gather information that will give me the ability to make empowering choices and decisions. I can use my body to develop my ability to express myself physically, to pursue my dreams and goals, to empower my life and become successful in ways that will work for me. I can use my spirit to develop my sensitivity to communicate with the God of my understanding and with myself. I can use my soul to develop my awareness of the patterns in my relationships as I interact with the world around me. And I can use my emotions, become aware of what's going on within me and how I interpret, respond rather than react to what occurs in my life and relationships. Therefore, my relationships and my life no longer have to limit me. Instead, I can learn from it. I can learn from my experiences, my circumstances, my relationships, disappointments, discouragements, and the opportunities that are given to me through developing my mind, body, spirit, soul, and emotion. A big realization that changed my life and relationships. With this realization, I discovered something that changed the quality of my life, well being, and relationships. I could define success for myself through my mind, body, spirit, soul, and emotions in ways that would work for me. And I just repeat this over again because sometimes we lose track of what we can really do. That our mind, body, spirit, soul, and emotions have tremendous energy, and we can develop this energy to be successful in our lives through creating. Through my awareness, I realized that I no longer needed to buy into a faulty belief. I realized that I no longer needed to be defined by my brain injury, invisible disability, or by focusing on my deficits and limitations. I could be aware of them, but I need not no longer be limited by them by focusing on them. Instead, I could develop what I had in ways to work for me. I like a quote by Helen Keller. She says, I am one, but still I am one. I cannot do everything, but still I can do something. Therefore, I will not let what I cannot do interfere with what I can. So I don't have to focus on what I can't do. I can focus on what I can do and develop that. And it is a process. It's been a process for me. And I just encourage you not to give up on your process through the journey and the process of learning to develop your gifts, talents, and abilities. And here's a poem that has helped me to come to terms with what I cannot change. The Power of Choice. There is a hole in my sidewalk. And this is an autobiography in 5 short chapters by Portia Nelson. Chapter 1. I walk down the street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I fall in. I am lost. I am helpless. It is my fault. It takes me forever to find my way out. Chapter 2. I walk down the street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I pretend I don't see it. I fall in it again. I can't believe I am in this same place, but it isn't my fault. It still takes a long time to get out. Chapter 3. I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I see it. It is there. I still fall in it. It is a habit, but my eyes are open. I know where I am. It is my fault. I get out immediately. Chapter 4. I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I walk around it. And then chapter 5, I walk down another street. Walking down a different street, the poem illustrates my journey through the grieving process. I had to confront my denial in chapter 1 of this poem, experience and come to terms with my anger in chapter 2, and then try to bargain my way out of what could not be changed in chapter 3, and find myself depressed by recognizing that what could not be changed in chapter 4. And then in the last chapter of this poem, by accepting what could not be changed, I made different choices. And by making different choices, I'm able to get into action. And by getting into action, I'm able to create hope in my life, which enhances my ability to create with my life and my well-being, and therefore define success for myself. Here are several quotes that inspire me to define success for myself. I was told over and over again that I would never be successful, that I was not going to be competitive, and that technique simply was not going to work. All I could do is shrug my shoulder and say, we'll just have to see, by Dick Fosbury. He's the Olympic gold medalist, inventor of the Fosbury flop high jump technique. I am only one, but still I am one. I cannot do everything, but still I can do something. And because I cannot do everything, I will not refuse to do something that I can do, by Helen Keller. We mentioned that quote earlier. Regardless of your lot in life, you can build something beautiful on it, by Zig Ziglar. I cannot change the world, but I can cast a stone across the waters to create many ripples, and that's by Mother Teresa. It is not as important what happened to us, but how we respond to what happened to us. And that's by myself, Craig J. Phillips, MRCBA. Next quote, do what you can with what you have where you are, by Theodore Roosevelt. Next quote, don't quit, never give up trying to build the world you can see, even if others can't see it. Listen to your own drum and your own drum only. It is the only one that makes the sweetest sound, by Simon Sinek. Believe in yourself, go after your dreams, and don't let anyone put you in a box, by Dea. Not everyone will understand your journey. That's okay. You're here to live your life, not to make everyone understand. It is not, that's by Bansky. The next quote is, it is not that I'm so smart, it's just that I stay with problems longer, by Albert Einstein. Next quote, insist on yourself, never imitate. Your own gift you can present with a cumulative force of a whole life's cultivation, but of the adopted talent you only have an extemporaneous half possession. Do that which is assigned to you, and you cannot hope too much or dare too much, by Ralph Waldo Emerson. Next quote, seek out that particular mental attribute which makes you feel most deeply and vitally alive, along which comes the inner voice which says, This is the real me. And when you have found that attitude, follow it, by James Truesdell Adams. And the last quote is, if you advance confidently in the direction of your dreams and endeavor to live the life that you have imagined, you will meet with success unexpected in common hours. That's by Henry David Thoreau. This is the end of the video presentation of this article. I want to thank you for your time. Please share this article with anybody and this video presentation with anybody that you believe would and could benefit. I'll say so long for now. Have a great day, and God bless both you and your family. I hope you have a wonderful day, and thanks for your time. Bye now.